After all the jacks are in the boxes, and the clowns have all gone to bed, you can be in happiness staggering on down the street, footprints dressed in red, and the wind whispers Mary. A broom is drearily sweeping all the broken pieces of yesterday's life. Somewhere a queen is weeping, somewhere a king has no wife, and the wind cries Mary. The traffic lights, they turn blue tomorrow, and shine the emptiness down on my bed. Tiny island sags downstream, 'cause life lived is dead, and the wind screams Mary. Will the wind ever remember the names it has blown in the past? With this crutch, its old age and its wisdom, it whispers no, this'll be the last. And the wind cries Mary. Here are chord charts for chords needed to play the song, as well as other chords used in different variations you can add. There's an E flat, an E, an F on the 8th fret, an F on the 5th fret, an F on the 1st fret, a C on the 3rd, a C on the 8th, a B on the 2nd, a B flat, a G6, a B flat 6, a B9, a B flat 9, and a C9. Let's take a look at these chords on the guitar. There's an E flat, that's how the song starts, up to an E, then to an F, here on the 8th. And the other versions of the F that I use are this one on the 5th, and this one on the 1st. Also, there's a C that's needed. I play the C also here on the 8th. There's the B on the 2nd, the B flat. Then there's this G6 chord, a B flat 6 chord. And then you have a C9, a B9, and a B flat 9, if you want to add some variation. One note about the F chord used in this song. You can play the F bar chord, but you can also play it with a thumb version, thumb bass note version. So in other words, I'm making the chord with my fingers here on the fretboard, but then this bass note on the 6th string I'm making with my thumb. What that allows me to do is that hammer-on, that signature riff that plays over and over through the song. Let's take a look at the most basic chord progression to get started, to learn the foundation of the song. The verses start off with a C chord, down to B, to a B flat, and then an F. And that's for 3 lines of the verse, so it sounds like... 3 times. Then it goes to a G, to a B flat, to an E flat, to an E, to an F. And that repeats twice. G, to B flat, E flat, E, F. And that's the verse pattern. And then what you do is you layer variations on top of those chords. The strumming has some variations in timing that's helpful if you count out the beats of the measure if you're trying to learn this song. So if you start off with the C and count, it sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So what I did there was I started with the C chord and I counted 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, and then I hit 4 on that B chord, 4, and then the B flat gets the next 4 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the F gets 4 times 2, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. The counting on the G chord section sounds like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. The counting on that section is 4 beats for the G, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 beats for the B flat, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then when you get to the E flat, it's 1, the E is 2, 3 is a pause, and then 4 is the F, and then 4 more beats on that F. So it sounds like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Same counting if you do this little riff. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let's look at some of the variations that occur as the song is actually performed. The first thing is the strum pattern. If you notice what I'm doing there, I'm hitting a bass note, and then I'm lifting off the chord on my fretboard hand, and then just striking the strings through. And that happens on the 3rd beat. So the first beat is the bass note. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's and then there's this little riff on the F. It sounds like this. And what I'm doing there is I shift it. First I start off hitting the bass note of a full bar chord, F chord. And then I shifted to just strings 2, 3, and 4 of the F chord. Made this little shape here. And what that allows me to do is hammer on this note here on the 3rd string, 2nd fret. And I'm strumming through those 3 strings. You can also do that little hammer on the F chord here on this 5th fret F chord. If you make the shape like this, so in other words, I'm barring the 5th fret here on strings 2, 3, and 4. I've placed my 2nd finger on the 2nd string, 6th fret, and then I'm hammering on the 7th fret of the 4th string. That's the way to get that same hammer on of the F chord. Here you get a more twangy sound on this open position, and here it's a little stronger. And then you get to the part with the G6 chord, it sounds like this. What's happening there is you playing 8th notes, and you can count it like 1 and, 2 and on the 3 is when you fret that 6th note of the chord. So for example, here I'm fretting the E note here on the 5th fret 2nd string on the beat of 3. So it sounds like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then I'm going to the E flat to E to F part. So once again, slowly it sounds like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... If you want to play these chords like bottom 4-note shapes, you can. The emphasis is on strings 2 and 3. Here's the intro. After all the jacks are in the boxes. What's happening in that intro is you start off with the E flat to the E, and and then the F. And that's a theme that reoccurs throughout the song, so that's important to know. And then this little riff is the same chords. It's E flat, E, and then F, but it's this inversion here. So this 8th fret inversion of the E flat, what you're doing is you're hammering on that note. So you have the root note, the 3rd, and then the 5th make up this major chord. And on each of these, what you're doing is you're hammering on the 3rd. So you're not playing the root note in that case, so you're just hammering on like that, a bar of the 8th fret, and then hammering on the 10th fret of the 5th string. And you're just sliding that riff up 1 fret at a time. Here's the intro played slowly. Here's the tablature for the intro. The lines are the strings of the guitar, and the numbers on them are the frets that are played. Next, what I'll do is I'll go through each of the verses slowly so that I can point out some of the variations that happen during each verse. Here's verse 1 played slowly. After all the jacks are in the boxes, and the clowns have all gone to bed, you can hear happiness staggering on down the street. Footprints dressed in red, and the wind whispers Mary. Let's look at some of the variations that happen. So it starts off normally, C, down to the B flat, to the F. And then you do the little riff on F, which can also be played here. And that's on the first line. Then the second line you do, and the clowns have all gone to bed. And what's happening there is you're playing off of a B flat chord in a different inversion. So this right here is a B flat chord, and what's happening is you're sliding up from the 3rd fret to the 5th fret on the 5th string, and then you're hitting 3rd fret, 3rd string, and then hammering on the 4th string from 3 to 5, back down to 3 on the 4th string before continuing to the F. So it sounds like, and the clowns have all gone to bed. And then on that F, you play this little line, which is a different hammer-on than the first one. What you're doing is you're off this F chord, you're adding the note here on the 2nd string, 3rd fret. And you're just playing strings 1 and 2. Or you can play on this 5th fret F chord if you prefer. All you do is you hammer on the note here on the 3rd string, 7th fret. And then we continue with the next line. It goes back to C, down to the regular B flat to the F, and there you're just hitting 2 bass notes on the F. And then you go to the G part, and that part's the same throughout the entire song. There's no variations on that part. And then the E flat E F part to the little E flat E F on the higher octave. Here's the second verse played slowly. A broom is drearily sweeping up the broken pieces of yesterday's life. Somewhere a queen is weeping. Somewhere a king has a wife. And the wind cries Mary. The second verse starts off with the same variations as the second line of the first verse. It starts off with the C, down to the B, and then you hit the B flat riff. and then you go back to C, down to the B, and then you're doing the B flat riff with a slight variation. And what that is you slide up from 3 to 5 on the 5th string, hit the 3rd fret of the 3rd string, hammer on from 3 to 5 on the 4th string, and then hammer on from 3 to 5 on the 5th string before going to the F. So that variation is, and then you do one more time. And then on the line, somewhere a queen is weeping, you go up to the C on the 8th fret. And that's where that B flat 9th and the B 9th come in. So you start off with the C, down to the B 9, to the B flat 9, before going to the F. So these chords replace the C, B, and B flat down here. So C to the B 9 to the B flat 9, and then you go to the F. 2 bass notes, and then you do the G to the G6 part again. Here's the 3rd verse played slowly. The traffic lights, they turn to blue tomorrow and shine their emptiness down on my bed. Tiny island sags downstream, 'cause the life they live is dead. And the wind screams Mary. What's happening on that 3rd verse is it starts off with the C, down to the B, and then you play a little modification on the B flat riff. What I did there was the same slide on the 5th string from 3 to 5, and then I'm hitting the 3rd fret, 4th string, 3 times before I do a bend and release of the 3rd fret on the 5th string before we go to the F chord. So it sounds like, and then I do a modification of this riff. It's an octave lower, so I just play it here on the 6th string. I'm hammering on from 3 to 5, and I'm hitting the 5th string and 6th string at the same time, while I'm kind of barring on the 3rd fret of the 5th and 6th strings. And then I move on to the next line. It's the C, down to the B, and then I play a different modified version of that B flat. So that modification is the same slide from 3 to 5, 3rd fret, 4th string, then a hammer on and pull off of 3 to 5 on the 4th string, down to 5th fret, 5th string, before I go to the F. And then I play the standard hammer on the F chord. So that one is, and then I move on to the line, the tiny island sags downstream, where I play. So what I've done there is I'm playing the bass note of this C7 chord, and I'm adding the 9th. So the strum is bass note and then down, up, and on that second down I'm adding the 9th. And then I go down to the B flat and do the same thing. So that is, and then I go to the F. And then I get to the G part. Here's the 4th line played slowly. Will the wind ever remember the names it has blown in the past? With its crutch, its old age, and its wisdom, it whispers no, this will be the last. And the wind cries Mary. happening on the first and second lines of the fourth verse is it starts off with the C, down to the B, and then the B flat riff that you do is, so that was the slide from 3 to 5 on the 5th string, and then 3rd fret 4th string, hammer on and pull off from 3 to 5 on the 4th string, and then I landed on the 5th fret 5th string before I went to my F chord. And my F chord, I'm playing the thumb bass note version. Because what I want to do there is, I want to have that hammer on happen, but I also want to play the low bass note. So the best way to do that is with the thumb note of the F chord. So I make that thumb F note, and then I hit that once, and then I do the hammer on, and then I hit it twice. So that part sounds like, and then the 3rd line of the 4th verse is just the C chord, down to the B flat, to the F, and then the G6 part is normal. The beginning of the 4th verse has a little slide that has 2 different notes. It goes, and then you start the verse part. What those slides are is here on the 5th string from the 12th fret to about the 7th fret. And then here on the 6th string from the 8th fret to about the 3rd fret. And then I go to the C chord. I've divided the solo into 2 sections. I'll play each section slowly, and then I'll show the tablature for the section. Here's the guitar solo. Here's section 1 of the solo played slowly. Here's the tablature for section 1 of the solo. Here's section 2 of the solo played slowly. Here's the tablature for section 2 of the solo. Here's the rhythm guitar during the solo. What's interesting about the rhythm during the solo is it's a different pattern than the rest of the song. So it starts off with F, and you do that little riff there. So I'm playing this F bar chord here on the 8th fret. And what I did there was I hammered on the 4th string to the 12th fret before I slid down 2 frets to the 6th fret to make the E flat chord. So it's like, and then I went down to this B flat, and then I did this little riff. So the B flat, and I slid up on the 6th string from the 8th fret to the 10th fret, and then hit the 8th fret on the 5th string. And then I go down to the A flat, and I did that little riff. What that is here on the 8th fret of the 6th string, up to the 10th fret, 8th fret, 5th string, down to the 10th fret of the 6th string, and then you're back to the F chord. So from the A flat, it sounds like. You do that pattern 3 times, from the F to the E flat to the B flat to the A flat. That happens 3 times. On the last A flat, you just walk up like that. So it's A flat chord, then you slide up from 6 to 8 on the 6th string, and then 6th fret, 5th string, before you go to the G, where you're going to play that 6th from before. Up to the B flat and play the same 6th. And then you're going to play this D flat. Basically just downstrokes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you slide up to the F here on the 8th fret. And then you go back in. So at the F, there I just hit the 7th fret, this E chord, before I go to the C, and bring it back to the verse. Here's the ending. Here's the ending played slowly. Here's the tablature for the ending.